Remember that the 2023 general election, a lot happened. We saw how the IRF was shut down. We also saw that there were a lot of, ballot boxes, being snatched by some talks, sent by the political actors. And we saw that there was a lot of victory by the opposition, which was not recorded by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, we are in the era of, demanding for good governance. But here is a video for you to watch who talks about the issues that surround the 2023 general election, as well as the road to 2027 election, of which the opposition now needed to put their eyes carefully and look at how the judiciary, the INEC, and even the security agencies were bribed during the 2023 general election. This is a very big expo. And do not forget that there was a report that over 700 billion was being used in bribing alone for 2027. But we're not here to talk about that. Let's watch this video together.
Let me say this very clear, and I'm going to respond to 3 key points. First, in every country, elections are one of strategy. So in the US today, you see policy people, strategists thinking around messaging, thinking around mapping constituencies. In Nigeria as well, election is one of strategy. And the strategy of election in Nigeria is very simple. Bribe INEC, bribe judiciary, commandeer the security, and they are done. The people that destroyed 2023 election is INEC and judiciary. The rules were clear. The Electoral Act is not perfect, but it was very clear. I'm surprised that any judge who understands administrative law, which I have taught in the university for years, which I studied under the best in the world, would argue that an internal regulation built on a law, an act, a regulation, directing that you will do X, you can choose to do Y, when there is legitimate expectation and detrimental reliance. INEC was totally wrong, and the courts, Supreme Court downwards, got it wrong. When an agency created under the law with an enabling act and a constitution that says you can make rules, makes rules, those rules are law. They can unmake it through rule-making process. If they don't, they are bound to obey it. Results should have been transmitted electronically. I'm ashamed. I have a PhD in law and I can stand anywhere in the world to dispute the best and brightest. I was ashamed that the court affirmed that INEC can just walk away from the law. 5 years I was a regulator of electricity. When we make tariff, it's the same way INEC makes rules. We make those laws, tariffs. They are legal instruments. They are binding the law. I hold INEC responsible, and I hold the courts responsible for the failure of the elections. Sir, it's important to clarify who can sue. You raise the point. Electoral jurisprudence, the problem with Nigerian elections is that they don't understand electoral jurisprudence. Electoral jurisprudence is that the court's job is to restore back power to the people voting. Democracy is not, the dispute is not between Mr. Amade and Mr. Okutupupa. No. It's about the people's right to elect their leader. Therefore, we shouldn't be saying that only persons who contested and who could have won could file electoral petition. No. Citizens who voted have a right to go to court and say that the process was faulty. Look at the US jurisprudence. All the cases that went to court in 2020, I guess, were mostly by civil society groups and voters. That should change. Now, what does it take to nullify election? I always wonder why judges feel that what they call substantive compliance. If elections were conducted outside the rules, that is a nullified election. You don't have to prove that you have won. Elections should be nullified if they are conducted contrary to rules. our jurisprudence is faulty on that. So the question then is, there's a key point somebody mentioned about too much burden on the judges. It is caused by INEC, and I make this clear. The new Electoral Act provides two safeties that we destroyed. First, internal democracy. It says that all candidates must be either elected directly or indirectly. If you choose indirect, then it laid out democratically elected. Let me say it clear. The court has a right and a duty to overrule parties if they present candidates they did not go through the rules of the constitution and their own internal rules. There's no justice like saying, look, there are three people here. Members of the party have a right to due process. That's what the Act provides for it, and that's the Constitution provides for. So if you do not second guess politicians, then it's not that you are imposing the candidate, you are requiring them to follow the rules, and that's what the Supreme Court has been saying before. And the final point I want to make is very clear on this. INEC needs to start doing administrative adjudication. Now let's be very clear. Every process in an election, including rulemaking, including declaring results, are administrative procedures that require due process. Meaning that INEC should be sitting and making rulings on objections during collection of elections. I watched the drama where INEC says, call result, you call result after I go to court. No, that's not the way. That is an intermediate procedure before adjudication in court. That is administrative hearing. You must establish the validity of those results through a process that INEC can now make rules which the court will now review through the review.
That was Dr. Amandi there talking about he has a PhD in law, so he understands actually what he's talking about. And that is the reason why we should all tell ourselves the truth. When are we going to get it right in this country? Are we going to go in this trajectory and become a developed state in the near future? Nigeria has a lot of potential to be great, but unfortunately we have bad leaders who don't really care about the future of this country, but just to embezzle the little resources. Now, after they have finished with crude oil, they are now going for, they are finished with petrol, they are now going for gas. And very soon, you can see how banditry is ravaging the northern part of the country, and illegal mining, of which the government is not looking at how they can invest heavily in our natural resources, which could benefit the whole Nigerians. But then, who are those sponsoring the illegal miners, as well as, what is the insecurity happening in the northern part of the country, which benefits some few people if the government is serious, just like they did in the south and southeast where the crude oil is. They can do same in the northern part of the country by clearing all this mess, invest heavily, and make sure that those mineral resources harnessing from that region can be used to develop this country. But again, let me hear your own opinion about this whole drama. Thank you for watching.